Helix, it's a journal of science, society, and law. And so the triple helix was like a flawed version of like what the original DNA structure was. But to us, like, we're using it to kind of represent the interplay between these three things that we think are related. They're very related, but oftentimes many people don't really see that relation. So once again, the three things I'm referring to are science, society, and law. So science, like, always impacts society, I mean, by nature, just because a lot of the drive for science, I mean, even if it's just basic research that is later going to be used for things that have societal implications, like at some level, I think that everything that's going on in science is going to affect society somewhere down the line. So it's really, I feel that it's really important for me and for other people involved in science to think about like how what we're doing is actually going to affect society, and kind of think about how people may misuse it, because unfortunately there's a lot of misuse that goes on in our society today. And then that goes along with a lot of the legal implications of like what we're doing, and legal ethical implications. Like it all goes together, at least in my mind. And so I first heard about the triple helix once again during my first semester here in the fall of 2006, and I first became involved as a writer, and I wrote an article about personalized medicine and pharmacogenomics. And so like this article, so first I talked about a lot of the like science of personalized medicine, why people think it's going to work with the advent of like the sequencing of the human genome, and people finding single nucleotide polymorphisms, which are basically like mutations in a single base pair, and how some of those are paired or like grouped together in things called haplotypes. And so how like people can be characterized, based on some of these things, and that can affect their response to medications and therapeutics, like what's effective, what dose will work best for them, and that sort of thing. And so the two big problems that, medically speaking, seem to be solved by that are, the adverse side reactions that a lot of people have, and then problems with ineffective therapies. And so, I mean, so it was the science part of that, and then there was also the societal and, ethical sort of legal implications of that, that go along with, misuse of personal information, and how, like, personal privacy issues, and how if this information gets into the wrong hands, can start affecting employment, insurance rates, all of these things, and also issues with just like how race and how race and how a lot of these genetic variations are correlated with race, and how that could factor into like racial discrimination potentially if people start saying, well, this race is very prone to having this disease, so they start making decisions based on that. And then also some of the economics in terms of, you know, having mutations associated with like socioeconomically disadvantaged groups or things like that, or I mean certain races are associated with certain socioeconomic standings, and how that might affect like whether like how much resources pharmaceutical companies are willing to put into making therapeutics designed for those specific variants that are associated with specific races and things like that. So I mean, that was the article that I wrote for the triple helix. And after that semester in the fall of 2006, I actually moved into an editorial position as the managing editor in the spring of last year. And so I've been doing that for 3 semesters now. And so now a lot more of what I do is kind of oversight and like giving feedback to a lot of different writers on a variety of topics. We've had like a really broad range of topics. I mean, HIV and AIDS in the developing world. We've had things with like microeconomics and like, you know, kind of that sort of thing. Having things on, I mean, we tend to have a lot of things on like kind of medical sort of things. I mean, like brain imaging and that sort of thing. But we've had a pretty broad range of articles. Yeah.
So one question, sorry, that's fine. Do you see a separation between science and society then? Like there's a break between the two?
Do I think there is, or do I think there should be, or?
Either one.
Okay, so I mean, I think that a lot of people kind of see a break between science and society, and I feel that a number of science people who I talk to kind of are very kind of fixed on this break, and they don't really see the connection. And I guess sometimes I'm frustrated by that, because I mean, I guess for me, part of the reason that I'm interested in science is because I see the potential applications that can help society. And I mean, maybe it comes from my background of being very involved with a lot of outreach efforts and things like that. But that's one of the things that motivates a lot of the like scientific projects that I would want to work on. I would want to work on things that like had potential applications that could improve quality of life and things like that.
Yeah, so those are most of my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to say at the end?
Nope.
Sure, there's something else you want to ask?
It's okay that we're running over.
No, those were I hit all of them.
Okay. Marley's worried that I'll beat her since we went over 5 o'clock. Okay, sure, it's okay. I'm going to take 20 seconds of the sound of the room so it can be quiet. All right, thank you.
No problem.
I love that one. Is Jin going?
Yeah.